Good morning. So we've been hearing a lot about the future this week, so I want to start by taking us back into the past, back into the dark ages of 2000. Back when this is what it was like to rent a movie. You had no idea it was good or bad, you had no idea it was popular or not. It was a horrible, depressing time for humanity. But thankfully, we live in 2011, where with just a click of a button, you can see a world of customized movies. You immediately know what's good and bad, and you can make better decisions about how you want to spend your Saturday night. So what changed? Data. We started collecting a lot of data about what movies people liked, and that allowed us to make better decisions. And I want to talk in particular about the people that made this possible, the data scientists, otherwise known as statisticians or data miners. These are the people who work with data to build tools so the world can make better decisions. And what's really cool about these guys is that they're always working with data. They work with it on the nights, weekends. I'm a data scientist, and I was thrilled to go to my first hackathon. And for the uninitiated, that's when you get developers and data people together, and you put them in a room for 24 hours and just see what they can come up with. And I was so excited because I'm sitting in this room with all these people who have the most advanced machine learning skills humanity has ever seen, the best coding skills. I couldn't wait to see what we were going to come up with. It was going to be so incredible. It was going to be so powerful. It was going to be so momentous. And the stuff that we came up with was so unfulfilling. So here's an app that helps you park your car. Here's something that shows you deals that are near you. Now, these are great apps, but they're apps that make very comfortable lives ever so slightly more comfortable. It just seems that, if we're using the most advanced machine learning skills humanity has ever seen, stuff they're using on the Hubble telescope, we should be using it for more than just making sure that never again does Netflix recommend 500 Days of Summer, when it really should have recommended Notting Hill. Now, on the other hand, you have social organizations, and these guys are just awash in data. So here's a group that brings clean water to people in Africa. They've got data about their surveys, they've got data about well locations, they've got data about their finances, and it's not just data that they're collecting anymore. There's data from third parties too. Governments, the World Bank, are all opening up their data. So there's all this data available to help them maximize their impact, and no one's looking at it. And understandably, these guys don't have the resources for a data scientist, and so all that potential just gets lost. So, on the one hand, we have a set of people who are really good at working with data, but not a lot of social outputs for it. And on the other, we have social organizations with a lot of data, but no one to look at it. So I hope you're all asking the same question that I was. Just, can't we get these guys together? And that's exactly what Data Without Borders is designed to do. We're a pro bono data scientist exchange that connects data volunteers with social organizations to help them maximize their impact. We work through fellowships, short-term projects, even just weekend projects. And what's important is we deal with the entire data pipeline. So I'm not just talking about monitoring and evaluation. I'm saying anything that touches data. Are your surveys statistically valid? How are you managing your data? Is there open data that you could use? And so by bridging these communities, you allow data scientists a chance to have social impact. You allow social organizations to maximize their impact. And in the process, we all get to live in a better world. So I'll leave you with an example. The New York Civil Liberties Union was interested in understanding if the NYPD was using racial discrimination. Great question. And it turns out there's actually some good data around that. It turns out that every time the NYPD stops and frisks someone, they collect a ton of information about where it happened, what were they wearing, if an AK-47 was involved, huge amounts of information. So we're in a great position because we've got a great question and we've got a great data set. So let's answer it. So here's the data. So who can tell me if the NYPD is using racial discrimination? Right, yeah, no, me neither. And if you're a social organization, this is probably where you stop, if you even got here. So we worked with the NYCLU and we said, let's see if we can do better. And this is what we came up with. This is a map of all of the stop and frisks in 2010 by precinct. And what's immediately apparent is you begin to see things. You can see all these hot spots in Brooklyn. You can see what's going on in Spanish Harlem. And I guarantee that's not stuff you would have seen in just that block of data. And so by giving NYCLU this lens, they can start to understand the situation. They can start to answer that very thorny question. And even more important than answering that question, they can start to ask questions. Oh, how come when I'm watching this, the map lights up at the end of every month? Does NYPD have a quota? Well, that's a pretty big violation of civil liberties. So they can actually start to ask questions, too, that are core to their mission. Now, I said earlier, oh, we built this as if I was involved. You know who built this? Volunteers, in under a day. In under 24 hours, that's incredible. Now, the Ushahidi guys could probably do this in under an hour, but the point remains. The point remains that something that's fairly straightforward for a data scientist could be transformative for a social organization that just doesn't have those data skills. So I'll leave you by asking, if this is what we can do with one organization in just under a weekend, what kind of questions would you want to see answered in your organizations? Or what if every social organization had access to data skills to help them maximize their impact? What kind of questions could we all be answering? What if we just started using data not just to make better decisions about what kind of movies we wanted to see? What if we used data to make better decisions about what kind of a world we wanted to see? Thank you.